Hey, what is up guys? My name is Oleg. This is 007. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm gonna give you my top 5 Rolex Submariner Homage watches. I'm gonna do this list in the order from least expensive to the most expensive at $300. So the first watch is Tavis at $20 US. It's one of the first watches that I ever reviewed on this channel. I bought it from GearBest for around, I think it was like 15 or 20 bucks, and honestly it's a pretty impressive piece at that price point. If you compare it to some other watches on this list, of course it's not that impressive, but for 20 bucks you get the automatic movement. It's kind of a shoddy movement. Some people had bad experiences with them. Nevertheless, still has an automatic movement. It does look like a Rolex Submariner from the far. Up close it doesn't look too bad, but a lot of corners were cut with this watch. The bezel action is awful, although the bezel does turn. Pretty much has no water resistance, although it does have a see-through case back. The lume is very poor, and the bracelet is on the poor side as well. The case is not steel, it's a chrome plated brass, so a lot of corners were cut with this watch. It's not the perfect watch, but for 20 bucks, if you want to tip your toe in the water, so to speak, or if you want to test out how you like the Rolex Submariner design on your wrist, it's not a bad place to start. Number 2, Invicta Pro Diver. Now we're moving to a bit of a higher price category, still not that expensive, about 60 bucks. The prices keep on fluctuating, but on Amazon, on average, I think you can find them for about $60. I'll leave a link in the description for the cheapest one I could find. So what do you get with this watch? Well, here you get already 200 meters of water resistance, and you get a Seiko NH35 movement. So you get a really solid movement, fantastic movement for the price. You also get proper water resistance, so you can actually go swimming and diving with this watch. Unidirectional rotating bezel. The bezel action is alright, it's a hit or miss. The lume is very poor, but the overall quality of the watch, especially for 60 bucks, is fantastic. I don't think you can go wrong with this watch if you just want a beater watch for around the house, or again, if you're trying to test out that Rolex Submariner design on your wrist, the Invicta Pro Diver is a good place to start. Number 3, a Parnis watch. So these watches have been popping up on AliExpress for a while now. Actually, they are sold on AliExpress, they're sold on eBay. I reviewed one of these watches, but I reviewed a GMT version, which is pretty much exactly the same watch, just slightly different movement and a different bezel. Everything else about the two watches, the Submariner Homage and the GMT Master Homage, are pretty much identical. So they are in 40mm case. They are a bit on the thicker side at 14mm, but what you get here that you don't get with the Invicta Pro Diver, so with the Parnis you have to step up to about $85 versus Invicta Pro Diver $60. So for your extra 15-20 bucks, what you also get, you get a sapphire crystal as opposed to a mineral crystal on the Invicta, and you also get a ceramic bezel insert versus an aluminum bezel insert on the Invicta. However, you do trade down in terms of the movement. So the movement in these watches is a seagull movement. Value for money, specs for money proposition is off the charts. Just keep in mind that quality control issue on these Parnis watches sometimes could be poor, so make sure you inspect the watch well before you take off all the plastic wrap. Number 4, Tissel Submersible. So Tissel is this small micro brand from Korea. I think their watches are made in China, but their head office is in Korea. That's where they ship the watches from. I actually experienced 2 different watches from this company. Both are Rolex Submariner Homages. So I experienced the Submersible and the Marine Diver, and both watches offer some great specs for the money. Both watches have ceramic bezel inserts, sapphire crystals, 200 meters of water resistance, pretty good bracelets. Bracelets are not fantastic, but they are pretty good for the watch of this price category. So the watches are about $230 US. Both have high beat Miyota movements. Both are 9 series movements. So a lot of good specs for the price of these watches. So between the two, the Marine Diver kind of looks more like a traditional modern Rolex Submariner versus the Submersible looks more like a vintage Rolex Submariner with that domed sapphire crystal, and actually that's my preference out of the two models. I did a video comparing the two models, the Submersible and the Marine Diver. That video can be found on the channel. I will also link it in the description below, but basically what you need to know is that both watches offer fantastic value for money. Number 5, Phoebus PY007. I reviewed the black version of this watch and I was thoroughly impressed. The watch comes in at $300, so it's about 70 bucks more than the Tissel Submersible or the Tissel Marine Diver. Both the Tissel and the Phoebus have ceramic bezels, sapphire crystal. They have the same movement, the Miyota 9 series movement, high beat movement, of course. So the similarities are there. However, I think Phoebus offers slightly better quality as opposed to Tissel. So it's up to you whether you want to go with that route, spend extra 70 bucks and get a slightly better quality watch, or save that $70 and go with the Tissel. But that's it. That's my list of top 5 Rolex Submariner Homage watches under $300. I held and owned all 5 of these watches, so I have experience with all of them. And my favorite out of the bunch, because I know I'm gonna get this question, is the Tissel Submersible. I love that watch. I sold it, and I miss it. I miss that watch. It's weird because I have some other Rolex Submariner Homage watches in my collection right now, but I still miss that Tissel Submersible. Maybe one day I'll buy it back. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, that helps a lot. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what is your favorite Rolex Submariner Homage under $300. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing a Semir vintage chronograph. I think this one is from 1950s. Very simple, basic movement. I did a full review of this watch. That video can be found on the channel. I will also link it in the description below. Also, in the description below, there's a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had fun. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, buddy. Are you in the water? Bunch, are you enjoying water?